I tried block printing for the first time, and I want to share with you my results. As a first-timer, I sometimes use too much ink or too little ink. I sometimes use too much pressure or too little pressure, but I sometimes hit that Goldilocks moment of being just right. It was all good fun. I picked up a beginner block printing kit and a tiny little extra block to practice on. For this experiment, I went back to my very first sketchbook from about 2 years ago and chose an illustration that meant a lot to me, a lesson from a drawing class to animalize myself. And I painted a mix of a woman and a tiger. It was maybe the first time I made something original that really tickled my fancy. It's still my Instagram avatar. It worked well for a beginner's block print too, because it was very simple with distinct lines. I am carving on a very soft block that is good for beginners. The number one instruction when carving is to keep your non-carving hand out of the path of the blade. Otherwise, if the blade slips, you could get injured. I am no expert, so please be sure to watch an experienced carver's tutorial for safety's sake. I found that the carving was pretty easy, although sometimes my carving sunk the blade deeper and deeper into the block, and I needed to get used to skimming it along the surface and applying even pressure. I added a small amount of paint to a pane of glass and rolled it out into a thin layer, and then I rolled the paint onto my carving block. Too little paint and it won't make solid blocks of color on the print. Too much paint and it will fill in all the little details on the carving. Then I put my paper on top and used a wooden spoon to transfer the ink from the block onto the paper. And I found that sometimes I did miss spots, so kind of do a peekaboo there and see if it's transferred enough. That moment of lifting off the print is always the most fun part. And I thought that I used a pretty good amount of ink on my first transfer. This one you'll see I either used too much ink or I pressed too hard when I transferred. I tried putting the block onto the paper rather than putting the paper onto the block, and I didn't like that approach as well. I tried using regular acrylic ink and it really didn't roll easily or work well at all, so I pretty quickly abandoned that approach. The black ink that I did use was labeled as a premium water-based block printing ink, and that worked much better than the acrylic paint. On this printing, I forgot that I didn't like putting the block on top of the paper, but I tried to salvage that by flipping it over. This was a really big fail. I'm not sure if it was the inking problem, not enough ink, not enough pressure, but it was time to try again. I still wanted to get some color in there, so I tried using the acrylic in the background. I made a red one and then another red one with a little bit of purple in it. And I liked this approach, but I found that those colors didn't really give me enough contrast with the black. So then I hit upon the idea of using yellow and orange to kind of suggest tiger stripes. Get it? And these ended up being my favorites. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you think and if you have tried block printing. Here's a look at my keeper prints with the block and the sketch, as well as my sketchbook spread.